Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We have been given the go-ahead to begin. Can you kindly assume your seats? We acknowledge the intent of arrival of our Honorable Prime Minister, Philippe G. Pierre, Minister of Finance, Economic Development, and Youth Economy. Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste, Minister of Health, Wellness, and Elderly Affairs. Professor Cato Lawrenson, Distinguished Keynote Speaker. Dr. Mole Clark, President, St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, and executive members. Professor Dabor Rosary from the Central Hospital, University of Martinique. Mrs. Tessa Ingles, our Deputy Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Health. Dr. Sharon Belmar George, our Chief Medical Officer. The team from Stony Brook University Hospital. The staff of the French Embassy. Specially invited guests, doctors and dentists, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the 2022 Awards Evening Ceremony hosted by the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association under the theme Celebrating Excellence. My name is Dr. Telemina Emmanuel, serving this evening as your Mistress of Ceremony. It is indeed a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege that so many members of the medical fraternity of St. Lucia are gathered here this evening to celebrate each other. We celebrate service, dedication, commitment, and your significant contributions to the healthcare system in St. Lucia. Despite so many challenges, too numerous to mention, our physicians continue to demonstrate best practices in their respective fields. For this, you are well deserving of recognition and to be celebrated. We applaud the President of the SLMDA, Dr. Mole Clark, and the executive members for making this evening possible, ensuring that our physicians feel appreciated and special. I therefore ask you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this evening's proceedings. At this time, may you all stand as we do our national anthem, following which you will keep standing as we invite Dr. Diane Ferdinand Walcott to do our opening prayer.
Good evening. Shall we pray? Loving Father, thank you for allowing us to gather here again for another SLMDA annual conference. We ask for your hand of guidance and protection over the next 3 days. We ask that you bless our president, executive members, and all organizers, speakers, and participants. May the knowledge we gain be planted in our minds and produce fruit which will benefit our patients and our communities. We also say a special prayer remembering all those who suffer loss in the past days and ask for peace and comfort for them. We honor you as we ask all these blessings in Jesus' name. Amen.
You will now be seated. We invite our President, Dr. Mole Clark, to do her welcome remarks. Her remarks will be followed by the introduction of our keynote speaker.
Good evening, everybody. We acknowledge the arrival of our Minister of Health, Honorable Moses Jean-Baptiste. Good evening. This evening, we gather to celebrate each other. We gather to recognize and pay tribute to those who over the past year, well in this case, over the past 3 years almost, have excelled. Those among us who have gone above and beyond in service to their fellow man. Those who've shown extraordinary, exemplary resilience in the face of adversity. Those when called upon, always stand ready to serve and to sacrifice. We gather this evening to celebrate excellence. It is November, and of course we must take some time to celebrate and say special welcome and greetings to our men. Our male colleagues, of course, are far outnumbered in our association and our organization among the medical fraternity, but their contribution certainly cannot be understated. So good evening to all our men here this evening. Like the rest of the world, we over the past 2.5 years experienced a global event, the likes of which we hope to never again have to live through. Though in this room, we are all well aware of the fact that we must be prepared for the next pandemic, lest we be caught proverbially with our pants down. We must, however, learn from the mistakes made. Learn from the mistakes made. Even in adversity, there is opportunity. The COVID-19 pandemic is no different. As catastrophic and traumatic as it was, we learned lessons that will allow us to be better prepared for the next major health threat. We all learned to make use of technological advances at our disposal. Telemedicine became a viable option for ensuring that no patient was left behind. The importance of hand and cough hygiene that we all learned in primary school was reiterated and put sharply back into focus to the benefit of us all. I certainly haven't had a cold in the past 2 years, have you? We also saw the dark side of social media on full display. The efficiency with which conspiracy theories were widely disseminated, the consolidation of the anti-vax movement, the further rise of unethical practices with the sole aim being financial gain. The road ahead is long and arduous. Chronic non-communicable diseases continue to ravage our communities. Our inability to effectively reach and educate our fellow citizens on matters of health and well-being prevail. We must, however, stay the course. We may need to alter our strategy, communications or otherwise, but persist we must. For the sake of our communities, our families, our countries, we simply cannot afford to fail. We are often called upon to show superhuman strength and make superhuman sacrifices, to virtually work miracles with limited resources, to save lives against all odds. But the reality remains that we are human and as such fallible. We will inevitably fall short at times, but we must learn to rise when we falter. Our profession is guided by ethical principles by which we all must abide, and to maintain the trust and confidence of the public which we serve, we must at all times treat every colleague, patient, family member with whom we come into contact with utmost respect, love, and compassion. Never must we give in to our base instincts, lest we as the medical and the dental community lose the faith and trust of our clients. It would be remiss of me to not speak to the power of collaboration in our quest to provide the best possible service to our patients. This weekend's conference is a prime example of that. Our friends from Stony Brook are here with us to share their knowledge and expertise. We can never thank you enough. Their presence here is testimony to the negotiating and networking prowess of our very own Dr. Lisa Charles. This evening's keynote speaker, Dr. Lawrenson, never hesitated, despite his impossibly busy schedule, to accept our invitation to be here. Dr. Dabor, when called upon at any time of day or night, answers the call. Our colleagues, physicians and dentists in the diaspora, who never fail to accept an invitation to give back to our beloved St. Lucia in any capacity. be it assisting with patient transfers, consults, or procuring medication or equipment, being guests on HealthWise, or presenting at conferences and CEs, as Dr. Amy Paul, Sharon Raymond Ford, Dr. Marissa Jacob will be doing this weekend. Special mention must be made of Dr. Amy Paul, whose motivation and drive to assist with elderly care and unite healthcare workers is unmatched. Dr. Candace Joseph, our US-based infectious disease fellow, whose input was invaluable during the pandemic. Our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belma George, who gracefully shouldered so much during the pandemic. Our colleagues who labored at the respiratory hospital and prevailed against all odds. Those who held down the fort at the respiratory clinics, wellness centers, private practices, hospitals. Your service and commitment can never be adequately compensated. And in the words of Gramps Morgan, there is a place for people like you when this life is over. As we look forward to advances in medicine, collaborations which will benefit members and patients, support from our parent ministry, the Ministry of Health, will be indispensable if we are to achieve the lofty goals which we set for ourselves. To those among us who will be leaving, those who will be pursuing postgraduate studies, the budding entrepreneurs, the visionaries, we say go forth. Let your light shine, let your spirit inspire. Medicine, dentistry are not simply jobs. Those are vocations. We all take an oath to do no harm, to dedicate our lives to the service of others. Let us continue to fight to ensure that quality, equitable healthcare is a fundamental right of every citizen and not simply for a privileged few. Let us continue to do our best to make ours the most noble of professions, one that future generations will aspire to, not simply one for financial gain, but to serve and to heal. Colleagues, we must guard our mental health jealously. Take time for yourselves. Remember always, you cannot pour from an empty cup. Dr. Daniel always says that. In closing, I would simply like to reiterate, we are here to serve, to live and to heal, to love, and to heal. Let us remember always to show love and compassion to those with whom we come into contact. In all that we do, let us aim for excellence. And I'd like to acknowledge the arrival of our Prime Minister, the Honorable Philip J.P. At this time, I will introduce our keynote speaker, Dr. Cato Lawrenson. So I'll just read a brief bio of Dr. Lawrenson. Dr. Cato Lawrenson, MD, PhD, is a professor, the university professor at the Albert and Wild Van Dusen Distinguished Endowed Professor of Orthopedic Surgery, Professor of Chemical Engineering, Professor of Material Science, and Professor of Biomedical Engineering at the University of Connecticut. He is the CEO of the Connecticut Convergence Institute for Translation in Regenerative Engineering at UConn. Dr. Lawrenson is a pioneer in the field of regenerative engineering. In receiving the Springer Medal, he was named the world's foremost engineer physician scientist. Dr. Lawrenson pioneered the novel use of polymeric biomaterials for treating musculoskeletal conditions. In recognition of his breakthrough achievements, the American Institute of Chemical Engineering created the Cato T. Lawrenson Regenerative Engineering Founders Award. In orthopedic surgery, he received the Nicholas Andre Award from the Association of Bone and Joint Surgeons, the Marshall Urist Award from the Orthopedic Research Society, the Kappa Delta Award from the American Academy of Orthopedic Surgeons, and the Distinguished Contributions in Orthopedic Surgery Award from the American Orthopedic Association, where he was inducted into the AOA Awards Hall of Fame. Dr. Lawrenson is the first surgeon in history elected to membership in the National Academy of Medicine, the National Academy of Engineering, the National Academy of Sciences, and the National Academy of Inventors. He is the first person in history to receive both one of the oldest and highest awards of the National Academy of Medicine, the Walsh McDermott Medal, and the oldest, highest award of the National Academy of Engineering, the Simon Ramo Founders Award. The American Association for Advancement of Science awarded Dr. Lawrenson the Philip Haig Abelson Prize, given the signal contributions to the advancement of science in the United States. Dr. Lawrenson is a recipient of the National Medal of Technology and Innovation, America's highest honor for technological achievement, awarded by President Barack Obama in ceremonies at the White House. He earned his BSc in Chemical Engineering from Princeton, his MD, magna cum laude from the Harvard Medical School, and his PhD in Biochemical Engineering, Biotechnology from MIT. Dr. Lawrenson is a recipient of the St. Lucia Medal of Honor, Gold. Ladies and gentlemen, colleagues, prepare to be inspired.
Well, thank you very much.
Okay, great. At this point, we go straight to our awards, the moment that you all have been waiting for. We begin with our first award, special award to Professor Dabor Rezier, and this will be presented by Dr. Martin Didier.
Good night, ladies and gentlemen, colleagues. I want to acknowledge the Prime Minister's presence. Is he leaving us? All right. I must say the Prime Minister is my batchmate, college batchmate. We've been in the same class. We sat many years on the same bench. So but I also want to acknowledge the Minister of Health, and sir, continue to do the good work that you've been doing. It's very challenging, and but challenges are things that we don't let stop us. We use it as a means to do better things. So tonight, I have the honor and the pleasure to read the citation to Professor Dabor Rezier. Now, I know his name been given a lot of Rezier, Dabou, yeah, but it's Dabor Rezier. And Professor Dabor Rezier is actually one of the freshly minted professors of the Department of Critical Medicine and Therapeutics at the Centre Hospitalier Université de Martinique. He's also the consultant physician to the ICU in Cayenne, that's in French Guiana. He's actually a Caribbean man. And I say this, he was born on the 12th of July 1967 in the parish of Westmoreland in Jamaica. His father was French, his mother Jamaican, so he's a Franco-Anglophone. And we claim him as a Caribbean man, and he is a Caribbean man. He's Jamaican, but he is French nationality as well. He speaks 4 languages: English, French, Spanish, and French Creole. And one of the things in reading his CV, what it says to me is that this is a country boy born in the rural Jamaica who has made it big on the international scene. And he had his primary school education in Jamaica, then he went to Mexico, where he graduated in medicine, and then went on to France to continue his education. He is licensed to practice in France, the UK, Mexico, Jamaica, and of course, St. Lucia. And in my mind, and to me, he is the most credentialed doctor that I know in the French and English-speaking Caribbean. And I will deliberately go through and tell you why I say so. His first degree, as I said previously, was in the usual medicine surgery in Mexico. He interned in Jamaica, and he holds 12 postgraduate diplomas, 12, and I will tell you what they are, and 2 certificates. So let me take you through his credentials in terms of. After his first degree, he did a diploma in 1999 in tropical medicine in Paris at the Pierre and Marie Curie University. He then went on the next year to do a specialty in critical care medicine and intensive care at the Claude Bernard University in Paris, France. That same year, he did a diploma in clinical toxicology and pharmacology at the same university, Claude Bernard, Paris, France. The next year, he did a diploma in emergency medicine at Claude Bernard University as well. The same year, he did a subspecialty in cancer care as well at the Gustave Rousseau Institute in France. The following year, he did a diploma in infectious diseases and tropical medicine at Pierre and Marie Curie University. And 4 years later, he did a diploma in HIV medicine in Paris. 3 years later, he did a diploma in accident and emergency medicine, again in Paris. And then following this, he took a certificate in echocardiography. And the following year, 2011, he did a certificate in undersea and hyperbaric medicine. In 2013, he did a diploma in ECMO, which is one of his favorite specialties. ECMO stands for extracorporeal membrane oxygenation, and he is probably one of the most certified and experienced ECMO specialists in the Caribbean. The following year, he did a diploma in pedagogy, and pedagogy is medical education. In 2019, he did a diploma in environmental science and medicine at Montpellier in Nice. And to top it all, he did a diploma in medical journalism. So Dr. Arazi has spent quite a lot of time in academic medicine in making sure that he's well credentialed and well certified. and improve the healthcare in all the Caribbean islands. He first started with the OECS. St. Lucia is his first love. We don't appreciate him as we should, so he spread his net throughout the OECS, and he has done so. But of late, he has moved further afield to Jamaica, where they have embraced him, and he is working very, very hard to develop more cooperation in Jamaica. He is well published. He's the author of over 100 articles in local, regional, and international journals. And he has more publications to come which have not yet been accepted. He is passionate about interregional cooperation, and he has always sought to associate himself with like-minded physicians throughout the OECS, St. Lucia, and the region. I first met him in 2008, a little after 2008, when he came from Paris to Martinique, and I don't know where it was, but we just took to. I met him, and then we became great friends, and ever since we have been very, very, very great friends. And he, in fact, so great that he calls me his medical father, and I call him my medical son. His name, Dr. Razia, has almost become a household name in St. Lucia. And I say this because a lot of what we don't know, many people, you go throughout the country and you say, that Jamaican French doctor at Lamina, Dr. Razia, he has helped so many people. And it comes from the heart. That's where it comes from. He's very passionate, very kind, and he helps everyone from all walks of life. And he has done that. To me, he is a rising Caribbean icon. And I look forward to seeing more and more great things from Professor Dabor Razia. So, ladies and gentlemen, I want to present to you Professor Dabor Razia, Caribbean man, a country boy who has made it big on the international scene, and who we are proud to be associated with. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, sorry. On the stage. Okay, so we'll first give you this. I don't know what is it, but it's a very solution, of which you will look at in a while. But I'm proud, really proud, to present you this award from the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association. And before he takes it from me, what I would like to say is this, is that this award is actually an award from St. Lucia to what the French have done, the French embassy has done in St. Lucia over the years. They have done tremendous amount of work, and I think Dr. Professor Razia has continued to do more and more, and we will see more to come. So there you go.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening, Minister of Health. I'm not going to be so long, but I just want to say thank you to some of my friends. For the first time I came to this country, I said, this is my place. And it was Gordon, Charles, Dr. Lisa Cousin, who has brought me here. And since then, I have been adopted by a lot of people, doctors, I'm not going to say names. So, and I want to say thank you to the Ministry of Health, Dr. Belma and others. Thank you to the French Embassy, because tonight, I think is not my award, is an important award for France, for the French medicine, for the Ministry of Health, the French Ministry of Health, the Foreign Affairs Ministry, and also for the people of St. Lucia, your people. I think you are all the same. In the Caribbean, there is no St. Lucian, no Barbadian. We are all Caribbean. And I'm very glad that my father, Martin, he knows that, and he's saying that. Much more has to come. And I'm very glad because I have seen in Martinique, over the Caribbean, a lot of good young black people are rising, and I'm very glad. And sir, thank you for all you have been doing, and I'm proud of you. If you want to be my friend, I offer you. I would like to say thank you to the family Destin, because when I have to say that, because I don't know if you know her, but she called me all the time to tell me, just come over in St. Lucia, get somewhere else. You need some food, and some good food. That is good, I have to say that. Dr. DJ Martin, his family, and Homel, and Sinak, and Dr. Benjamin, no, too much, and all my friends, I'm very glad. So, but I think one of the things we have to, one word I want to say, Mr. Lorenzen didn't talk about that, but I believe in new generation, I believe in digitalization, I believe in what you are doing, but I think what we need really is to improve our healthcare in the Caribbean. We know now our son, my son, your son can become professor of university. Now the avenue is open for everybody. But I think we need to go through medical cooperation. We need to improve the healthcare in our country, because our people, they deserve more. But I don't know what we have to do. If we have to put ourselves together, I don't know. But we have to do something to improve the healthcare in those countries. And I'm one of them. And for me, the only way to do so is not to wait for United States, not to wait for France and others, is to collaborate, is to have the global, really networking, and to work, to collaborate. And I believe that we can reach there so quickly. Thank you very much.
Well done, Professor Dabor Rezeri, and congratulations on your achievements. At this time, we will have a video recording which will be facilitated by some members of the Ministry of Health. And this recording is done from an interview by Dr. Stephen King for Dr. Owen King and Dr. Derek King.
Owen King was born in 1925, 23rd of July. He was the second of 5 children of Charles and Amy King. He passed away on the 15th of May 2013. He's a college boy. He was at St. Mary's College from 1936 to 1942, and he was an Island Scholar in 1944. He then went off to do medicine. He did 1 year at the McGill University, and then he transferred to the University of Edinburgh, and then he graduated in 1951 with his medical degree. In 1952, he returned to St. Lucia as a medical officer at Victoria Hospital. Soon thereafter, he wanted to pursue his postgrad rotations and training to become a fellow of the Royal College of Surgeons of Edinburgh. So he moved to University College in Jamaica, now UWI, and he also worked in Trinidad and Tobago and Scotland. He achieved his FRCS qualification in 1959. Between 1959 and 1962, he returned as a surgeon to Trinidad and Tobago, where he worked until he came to St. Lucia. He actually asked to be transferred to St. Lucia. He was working for, in those days it was the colonial days, he was working for the British Foreign Office. He was the first St. Lucian surgeon to work in St. Lucia. He did everything. He was the only surgeon. So he did obstetrics and gynecology, orthopedics, general surgery, specialist surgery, all kinds of surgery. And he was a really gifted surgeon. He was gifted not only in his competence, but in his relationship to patients and staff. So much so that the nurses know of him as Papa. In terms of gifted surgery, I can just give you 2 examples. There was a young boy, 8-year-old, with a patent ductus arteriosus in cardiac failure. His mother was told she needed to get the patent ductus sealed, that is closed, and she did not have the money. Medical assistance was not available. Owen King told her he can do it. This is open chest surgery. He can do it once he has a good anesthetist. As soon as he had an anesthetist on island, he called her and he said, look, I have the right anesthetist. We're going to do this. He did that surgery very successfully. That was in 1972. When that boy went to Toronto, because he relocated, he went to Toronto General and saw the cardiothoracic surgeon there. The cardiac thoracic surgeon said, wow, a surgeon in St. Lucia did that operation? That's amazing. But that was the nature of Owen King. The midwives or the nurses in the theater will tell you that up to now, he's the fastest at getting a baby out during a cesarean section. He embraced technology. He was a lifelong learner. He always studied, always improved his medical and surgical competence, and always embraced technology. He's one of the first doctors I know to start using a computer, for instance. In 1976, himself, Dr. Peter St. Rose, Dr. Degazon, and Dr. Malcolm Rigsby formed the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association, and he was the first president of that association. He actually, I think, can be credited with modernizing surgery in St. Lucia, modernizing our surgical service, and making people confident of surgery. He embraced his colleagues, although he did all types of surgery. So for instance, when Dr. Peter St. Rose returned as a trained obstetrician gynecologist, it was easy for him to embrace Dr. St. Rose and give up doing obstetrics and gynecological surgery. He believed in serving patients. He worked both in his public and private capacity in surgery. That is really throughout his life until about 1995, when he stopped doing surgery and then only did his office practice, which he stopped in 1998. He was a fierce proponent of reform. 1976, he was arguing with Sir John Compton and produced a paper for national health insurance as part of what was then called the National Provident Fund, now the National Insurance Corporation. He always advocated for a hospital board and a statutorization of the hospital. And it's not, I think it's quite appropriate that the Owen King EU Hospital is named after him, because this is what he always felt would be better. He also was instrumental in establishing the Tapion Hospital between 1996 and 1997, and he was actually the first chairman of Tapion Hospital. He had a holistic, balanced life. He was an athlete. To give you how good he was as an athlete, he was actually called up for the trials for the British Olympic team in 1951, actually for fencing. He did not take it up because he was in his final year of medicine and he felt his priority was graduating and not going to the Olympics. He was an avid sailor throughout his life. He was a writer, wrote 3 books. He was a farmer. He was involved in real estate and construction. He would buy and sell houses and land. In fact, he often told me that medicine was his passion, but real estate is where he made his money. When you think about Owen King, what you think about is a compassionate, caring doctor, a competent doctor, a calm and confident doctor, a courageous person, and a good decision maker. He often told me that the hallmark of a surgeon is knowing when not to cut. That is a decision in itself. In many ways, he was a first among equals in his life. And I think he got many awards throughout his life, but he said one time at a ceremony when they were naming the Victoria Hospital Theatre after him, he said, you know, awards are beautiful, but the greatest award, the most meaningful award, is a small gift from a grateful patient. That was Owen King. Derek King was Owen King's brother. Actually, he was born on the 28th of January, 1931. He was the last of 5 children of Charles and Amy King. He died on the 7th of March, 2022. He was a St. Mary's College boy from 1943 to 1949. He was an Island Scholar, which he got in 1950. He went to the University of Edinburgh to pursue a medical degree. This he did, and he graduated in 1957. Between 1957 and 1961, he did a series of his postgrad registrar posts to pursue his membership at the Royal College of Physicians, which he achieved in 1961. In 1964, he returned as a senior registrar to the University Hospital in Jamaica. And in 1965, he returned to St. Lucia, where he was appointed as a consultant physician at Victoria Hospital and the medical superintendent. He lasted 1 year in that post and resigned. And it's interesting, he resigned because he felt that the government of the day was not investing in health and in the hospitals as it should, and he would not participate in a system that did not deliver the best care that it could possibly do. And that was the nature of Derek King, as we will talk. He worked as a private practitioner from 1966. And in 1989, he was approached by the ministry to return to Victoria Hospital as a consultant physician, which he did. And he remained there until 1998. And then he took up the medical superintendent post for 1 year, and he retired in 1999 from government. He actually retired in 2001 from medicine altogether. One of his great contributions to healthcare in St. Lucia was the establishment of the renal dialysis unit. In 1995, he was appointed as the lead physician and they took a team to Georgetown University in Washington. And they were trained in renal dialysis, and he came back and they implemented the dialysis unit. It is something that he was very proud of, in fact. He was a very well-educated man, in a very holistic way, in a classic way. And he had broad interest, but he was a deep thinker, very thoughtful. He really abhorred social injustice, and he often talked about social injustice. He was a deeply spiritual man as well. And he was impatient with injustice. And it's one of the things that those who know Derek know about him. He was excellent with his hands. He was a good carpenter, and he was actually a boat builder. He was a very avid sailor as well. The hallmark of Derek King's life was discipline. He had a very strong and his very strong sense of morality. He believed that physicians must always maintain a high standard of practice and religiously follow the code of ethics. He believed that medicine was a vocation and not a business for a livelihood, although it was also that, but the vocation was the real motivating force for a doctor in his view. He was a patriotic St. Lucian who often railed against what he perceived as injustice. I think if I had to capture Derek King in one phrase, it would be from the scriptures. He was a good and faithful servant. How did these two giants influence me? It's interesting. First, as an adolescent looking for a career, I pushed back against doing medicine. I actually wanted to go and do engineering and got into a university to do engineering and did not take it up, and rather the following year I took up medicine, a decision I have not regretted. But these two giants mentored me throughout my medical career. And I highlighted when I was talking about the hallmarks. One thing Owen King taught me was how to let go, how to move on, how to always have lifelong learning, how to always improve oneself, and to stay and always embrace technology and continue improving and work in the best interest of patients. He also gave me this fair sense of being an advocate for health reform, health financing, health governance. These were the things, and he would often talk to me about these things as we would sit or as we would drive down to his farm where I used to help him down in Canaries. Derek King was also a close mentor for me. I actually, when I was an adolescent, my father had left St. Lucia for a year to do a sabbatical, and I lived with my uncle, Derek King, on the Morn at the time. And he also would encourage me in spirituality and ethics. And these are the conversations we would really have. And that sense of discipline and serving the Most High. This was how he really felt. And we would have long and passionate conversations about medicine, about social injustice in the country. And I think that my passion for some of the social injustices outside of medicine. When I say outside of medicine, they're not outside of medicine because they are health. Things like against violence, things like upliftment of poorer communities and poorer people. These are the kinds of things that Derek King would speak to me about. And these are how these two men really influenced me in my career.
We thank Dr. Stephen King for this beautiful tributes to Dr. Owen King and Dr. Derek King. Well done. Well done. Now we have a series of awards. We'd like to call on our Minister of Health to the stage as he presents some special awards. Our first special award in this series goes to the Intern of the Year, Dr. Shemaine Peniston Prosper. Dr. Shemaine Peniston Prosper was raised in the rural community of Peniston in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. Peniston was and still is a closely knitted community where one looks out for his neighbor. The community was once a slavery plantation where fruits and root crops were cultivated. Today, if you were to visit, you would be amazed at the abundance of fruit trees of all different types which still stand in the area. Her love for medicine started far back as 5 years old, laying on a hospital bed on the pediatric ward of the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital. She frequented the hospital about 2 to 3 times weekly due to asthma exacerbations. She was not allowed to have furry friends, play sports, roll around in the grass, or even play in the rain. Those countless nights spent in the asthma bay of the A&E of the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital also aroused her love for medicine. Seeing the way the doctors knew exactly what to do and what medications to give made her feel better. It was fascinating and intriguing. The indelible mark was made on her life on a particular day while while being admitted, the pediatrician stooped to her level, gave her the biggest hugs, and reassured her that she would have felt better soon. That little act of kindness changed her life. She wanted to emulate that doctor, someone who cared so much about little patients that a hug wasn't too much to give. This was her medicine. She learned that it's not too much to care about your patients and stay with them throughout their illnesses. This made her feel great. A pat on the shoulder, a smile, giving a listening ear, a kind gesture, simply asking how they're doing. These things were medicine to the soul. She aspires to become a doctor who is not clouded by the demanding environment of our jobs, but to never forget that we are biopsychosocial beings, and our patients should always leave our presence not only feeling better physically, but refreshed holistically. Her favorite phrases or proverbs: anxiety in a man's heart weighs him down, but a good word makes him glad. My little children, let us not love in word, neither in tongue, but in deed and in truth. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares. Congratulations to our intern of the year, Dr. Shemaine Peniston Prosper. Our next prestigious award goes to the Junior Physician of the Year, someone very dear to my heart, Dr. Janoma Giffard. Put your hands together for Dr. Janoma Giffard. I call her family. We will call on our president, Dr. Mulclark, to give this award. Dr. Janoma Giffard is a budding doctor in her field who graduated from the Latin School of America, Cuba, in 2018 with first-class honors. She completed her internship at Victoria Hospital on return to St. Lucia, and thereafter has worked in the Accident and Emergency Department, Obstetrics and Gynecology, and Nephrology Department as a house officer. In March 2020, Dr. Giffard gave back to her homeland in a selfless way, as she was one of the first 3 doctors to volunteer to face patients with COVID-19 at the respiratory hospital. She has continued to dedicate her time and service to the people of St. Lucia as a senior house officer at the respiratory hospital. Dr. Giffard was the first intern to serve on the SLMDA executive as junior representative in 2019 to 2021, and at present serves as the assistant secretary on the executive. Being ever willing to assist when called upon, Dr. Giffard was awarded Most Dedicated Team Member at SLMDA Awards in 2020. She continues to wet her feet in the field of medicine, as she has a keen interest in community service and therefore has taken part in numerous health fairs around St. Lucia. In October of this year, she joined her colleague, Dr. J. Chico, first founder of the group Longevity and You, in an effort to impact St. Lucians positively about their health. Dr. Giffard continues to dream big and looks forward to pursuing her postgraduate studies in the near future. As she leaves life guided by Mother Teresa's words, not all of us can do great things, but we can all do some things with great love. Congratulations, Dr. Genoma Giffard. Our Minister of Health would like you to come up to do the rest. And then come up, okay, sure, no problem. The President has spoken. Our Outstanding DMO Award, District Medical Officer, goes to none other but Dr. Diane Ferdinand Walcott. Dr. Diane Walcott knew from the tender age of 5 that she wanted to become a medical doctor. She remained focused on her goal as she excelled at the Common Entrance Exam and later on graduated from the St. Joseph's Convent Secondary School. She received an award for excellence from the Ministry of Education for her performance at CXC. During this time, she participated in many outreach initiatives organized by her church. She was a founding member of the Junior Urinora Voices, steered by the late great Ms. Joyce O'Geist. Dr. Ferdinand was awarded a medical scholarship to Cuba in 1999 after completing her A-level studies. During her time studying, she demonstrated leadership and organizational skills and participated in cultural activities. She graduated summa cum laude in 2007. She became Dr. Diane Ferdinand Walcott and is the proud wife of Mark and is blessed with 2 beautiful children, Kaysen and Carrier. For the past 5 years, she has provided medical service to the Moshi Health Center and the Grosile Polyclinic, where she is presently stationed. Dr. Ferdinand Walcott believes in the power of teamwork and the ability of limited individuals to accomplish great things together. She has volunteered to represent the SLMDA as a member of the forum, as well as the Ministry of Health for NCD-related affairs, including talk shows. Dr. Ferdinand Walcott finds joy in her faith, her family, and her work, and is a true public servant at heart. Dr. Walcott. Our next special award goes to none other but Dr. Christy Gerald, Most Dedicated Team Member. Dr. Christy Gerald is a St. Lucia national whose interest in medicine began at the age of 8. With Lifetime Strong Medicine, a television show centered on a group of OBGYNs from diverse backgrounds who use those differences to treat patients with unmatched empathy and clinical acumen. Dr. Gerald completed her medical degree in 2016 and is currently employed as a house officer in the very specialty that her one-time favorite show was based upon. She describes this as no mere coincidence, but firmly believes that God has set her path this way. Though she can be described as measured and reserved by some, those close to her have described her as effervescent, charismatic, and passionate. She strives to use these attributes in her interactions with both colleagues and patients. In fact, she can usually be heard during her call on duty, encouraging her patients by saying, "It's you and me having the baby today," and has shamelessly suggested on many occasions that they name the babies after her, like Chris and Christine or Christos, etc. Dr. Gerald is the first of her parents' 2 daughters, and she credits their faith-based approach to child rearing as the foundation of her interactions with others. She is a dedicated plant mom, having named every single one of her many potted plants. She is also a mom to 2 dogs, 2 cats, and 2 tortoises, which led to her daughter to describe their household as Noah's Ark. The love which surrounds her is what propels Dr. Gerald to give of her best to everyone she interacts with amidst the rigors of her profession. When she's not at work, she usually can be found sleeping, napping, or snoozing. I don't blame you. A self-proclaimed introvert, her other interests include baking, decorative planning, and scrapbooking. When dark time comes, as they often do in this field, Dr. Gerald believes that it is essential to remain firmly rooted in one's true self. One of her favorite quotes reads, "Be soft. Do not let the world make you hard. Do not let pain make you hate. Do not let the bitterness steal your sweetness. Take pride that even though the rest of the world may disagree, you still believe in a beautiful place." Dr. Christy Gerald. Dr. Gerald was my house officer when I was an intern in OBGYN, and she was wonderful. At this time, we have a special honorary award awarded to Dr. Fleming by the SLMDA. Unfortunately, he is not here at this time due to unforeseen circumstances, but Dr. Swami will be receiving the award on his behalf. Come, Dr. Swami. to continue to honor Dr. Fleming, we'll continue with a video recording.
I chose medicine because it was the wish of both my parents. My dad was a chief of police and his dad was a farmer. My mom was a teacher. Her father was a pastor in a church. I was born in 1943 on 31st October. I also have two middle names, Victor Luther Fleming Salapuri. I was given the name Fleming because I was born in 1943. The same year the penicillin was discovered by Alexander Fleming. So my father wanted that name. I was given the name Luther because I was born on the 31st of October, which is the Reformation Day, as most of you know. Martin Luther protested the Catholic Church on that day. So my mom wanted me to become a priest. My dad wanted me to become a doctor. So at that time, when I was finishing my high school, I had to make a decision whether to become a priest or a doctor. So my sister, Dr. Griselda, who is practicing in St. Lucia, she was already in the medical school, and that white coats and the medical students inspired me, and I decided to become a doctor so that I can serve both the people and God by helping the needy as a doctor. There is nothing much I can say about the journey. I was underage to go to medical school. So then I went to study Bachelor of Sciences. I have a degree, BSc. Then I went to medical school and finished my degree in 1969. There were never any hurdles for me to be practicing. I was practicing in India. My dad was a fan of West Indies cricket team. At that time, Vivian Richards and Andy Roberts were from Antigua in the West Indies team. He was so fascinated when he found out there were jobs in the West Indies. He encouraged me to apply to come to work in West Indies. That's how I came to West Indies, first to Antigua. Then I am in St. Lucia now practicing from the last 44 years. And I can't say there were any hurdles for me. I'm quite happy how everybody accepted me as one of them. I was honored, given awards by many social groups, churches, organizations like Lions Club. But the most memorable one was the Lifetime Achievement in Medicine Award given to me in 2011 by St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association. That is the greatest honor I was given as a doctor. I'm proud of it. Most of the patients, when they come first time to the doctor, they were afraid to tell what they are feeling. Give them time, give them ample time so that they can explain properly to you. In my opinion, it is better not to give any leading questions. If we can give them a chance to explain how they feel, we can do better justice to them. In my personal opinion, We all came with nothing, and when we are ready to go, we go with nothing. We can enjoy what all we have here, but we should share. So my advice is be kind, and maybe if you can see some who can't afford at a discounted fee, and also if necessary free. God will bless you by doing that.
Congratulations again to Dr. Fleming, and all the best to him and his family. Our next series of awards, Outstanding Physician, goes to none other but Dr. Sagan Tobias. And our Chief Medical Officer will be presenting the award. I will just read his bio. Dr. Tobias graduated of the, I'm not a Spanish graduate, so excuse my Spanish. Dr. Tobias graduated of the Facultad de Ciencias Médicas de Cienfuegos Raúl Dóticos Torrado in 2004, earning his medical degree. Upon returning to St. Lucia, he worked at Victoria Hospital in the Accident and Emergency Department before leaving to further his studies in the United Kingdom. There, he was awarded a Master of Science in Sports and Exercise Medicine from the University of Nottingham. Since returning to St. Lucia in 2009, Dr. Tobias has worked in the private sector where he runs an urgent care clinic. He served as the president of the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association from 2010 to 2011. He has been an American Heart Association basic life support instructor for over 10 years and an advanced cardiac life support instructor from 2015. As a sports medicine physician, he has worked with a number of national, regional, and international athletes in various sporting disciplines such as cricket, football, boxing, rugby, track and field, tennis, etc. He is currently a member of the medical panel for Cricket West Indies and has been afforded the opportunity to tour with the teams. Recently, he was the team doctor for the West Indies at the Under-19 World Cup and for the senior team for the Bangladesh tour of the West Indies. Dr. Tobias has a keen interest in health and sports, especially among the youth. He has participated in numerous health campaigns targeting the youth. He was a medical lead on the task force under the Ministry of Youth and Sports, exploring the opening of a high-performance center in St. Lucia. Currently, he is working alongside other medical and sports professionals to formulate a national anti-doping program. Congratulations, Dr. Sagan Tobias. Dr. Tobias was very influential in my journey to become a doctor, and I express my appreciation in his confidence in me, and we still maintain a very good relationship. Thank you, Dr. Tobias. we now present the Lifetime Achievement Award, which goes to none other but Dr. Martin Didier. And this award will be presented by our keynote speaker, Dr. Cato Lorenzen. Yes, I'll read the bio. Just one correction, our bio for Dr. Martin Didier is to be read by Dr. Alwyn Benjamin. Calling Dr. Benjamin to the stage.
Good evening, everyone. I just want everybody to know I had an 11-page bio, but the president instructed me to cut it down to 1 page. How can I even do that for Dr. Martin Didier? I first want to start by saying he's a college boy. We have to celebrate men. Okay? Great. And Dr. Didier is married to a lovely Jamaican woman, Dr. Marie Grandison Didier, with 2 lovely daughters. Right? And this man has he's had a long career in the field of medicine in St. Lucia, spanning 42 years. 42? Wow. Merle, how old are you? Yeah, that's right, Merle. He received his medical degree in 1979. Merle, where were you? Thank you. From UWI Mona, Jamaica, and the first St. Lucian to hold a postgraduate doctorate in internal medicine in 1990. Wow, that year is familiar. That's the year I went to St. Mary's College. Amazing. He served as a consultant physician and head of internal medicine at the Victoria Hospital, the main public hospital in his homeland, since 1990. He's an internist with cardiovascular interests, and he retired from the public service in 2017. Let me tell you all about 2017. That's the year I finished my postgrad, and I was called to take his place. These were big shoes to fill. I'm still trying to fill them, right? Dr. Didier has provided, he now currently works at Tapion Hospital strictly. Dr. Didier has provided leadership and advice to the public health sector for many years in St. Lucia, including being medical director of the dialysis unit at Victoria Hospital from 1992 to 1999. He's a fellow of the American College of Physicians, a fellow of the European Society of Cardiology, a fellow of the American College of Cardiology. Also, he's one of the 4 founding members of the St. Lucia Heart, Lung, and Blood Foundation, right? He's the former president of the SLMDA and a board member of Medical Associates Tapion Hospital. I think Derek King introduced dialysis to St. Lucia, but Dr. Didier brought in the modern peritoneal and modern hemodialysis into St. Lucia, modified it from there.
There's greatness
in dialysis. Keep thinking, Sumo. Right? Dr. Didier was also the president of the Caribbean Cardiac Society and a founding member of the American College of Physicians Caribbean chapter, and chairman and the foundation member of the Tapion Hospital Foundation. Now, of all the accolades he's gotten, one of the nicest things about him is what people say about him, isn't his connection with people. This is a man who can connect at any level to anyone, colleagues, patients, students. Everybody appreciates that about him. And whether it's his bedside manner, whether it's on ward rounds, whether it's highlighting important issues to effect change, it's about his connection and his energy. On a personal note, Dabor said that Didier is his father, but he's my father too, so that makes us brothers. Okay? Good. Right? So, I've learned so much from Dr. Didier. I've been humbled, I've been taught, I've been disciplined, I've gotten marital advice, everything from Dr. Didier. And, you know, two situations came to mind. There's one time I was, a young hotshot doctor, and I felt I could have questioned him. And we disputed a diagnosis, whether it's an ischemic stroke or hemorrhagic stroke. Of course, the CT came back and Dr. Didier was right. There comes Romel Daniel storming down the corridor. Well, you know what's coming. It's like, did you just question Martin? I want you to understand something. When Martin was in uniform, you were in liquid form, man. Boy, they sure told me. The other thing I recall, the other incidents, which I was dear to my heart, the marital advice. There was a very sick lady, young patient, 30-year-old, very sick patient. And I'm there and I'm aggressive, and anybody knows me, I'm very aggressive with the management, and I'm like, let's do this, let's do this, let's do this. And Dr. DJ came and he's like, no, Benji, you have to go low and you have to go slow. I'm like, what is this man talking about, medicine or sex? But anyway, I just want to say, I'm pleased to announce that I've applied that to other aspects of my life. I've been going low and slow, and my wife is happier. Thank you, Dr. DJ, for the marital advice. Yeah? So, I want to say that this is a man we all love. Dr. DJ is an inspiration and a mentor to everybody, and he's actually the bedrock of modern medicine. He's my father, he's my mentor, he's a great guy, and I love you. That's it.
I'm not going to be long. It's just going to be short and sweet. Go low and go slow. I want to thank the St. Lucia Medical and Dental Association for this award. To me, one of the greatest awards you can get is from the people who you work with, your colleagues. And in all the awards I've had, all the fellowships and all the various things, this one is the one that I will cherish the most because it comes from you. And this is the one I really, really appreciate. So I want to say thank you. I did promise I was going to be short. Thank you.
Well done, Dr. Martin DJ. Congratulations. Dr. Benjamin did say a few days ago that from now on he's doing everything sexy. So I suppose that his introduction did not fail. We now move on to presenting the Outstanding Dental Practitioner Award to none other but Dr. Desma Destang. She is not present here with us today, but her sister, Dr. Tanya Bobre, will be receiving the award on her behalf. And this award will be given by our Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Sharon Belmar-George. Bio for Dr. Desma Destang. Dr. Destang is a dual qualified physician who has spent the last 25 years aesthetically enhancing her patients. Her original specialty is in the dental field of orthodontics and dentofacial orthopedics. She's a qualified specialist in both orthodontics and aesthetic dermatology with four advanced master's degrees. She attained the U.S. board certification with the American Association for Aesthetic Medicine in 2008 and has since been dedicated to scientifically advancing the field. Utilizing her skills of orthodontic dental facial analysis, surgical and dermatological science, Dr. Destang continues to be a leading educator and inventor in the new emerging field of aesthetic medicine. Her unique combination of degrees and extensive experience enables her to be a valuable contributor, lecturer, and educator in aesthetic medicine, including for recognized international university programs. Dr. Destang has received international recognition for excellence in facial rejuvenation and aesthetic dermatology, especially with skin of color. Her dealings with multiple ethnicities, extensive clinical research, and depth of knowledge in skincare product formulations have also led her to spearheading projects such as the development of medical skincare lines and chemical peels effective on all skin colors. Her topic of special interest has been in the area of medical microneedling and mandelic acid peels, specifically for ethnic and mixed races. She has developed established skincare protocols and facial analysis algorithms that are used worldwide for Botox, fillers, PDO, thread treatments, microneedling, acne, chemical peels, melasma, and medical skincare. She is also multi-published in international journals and considered an international authority on cosmetic dermatology and laser treatment of dark skin. Over 15 years of experience in aesthetic medicine. Her clinical research is published in the American Journal of Aesthetic Medicine. Her clinic has been featured on the exclusive aesthetic TV journal of Aesthetic Medicine. She is also a guest speaker and educational lecturer for training organizations for physicians interested in aesthetic medicine. And I dare say my glow today is from Dr. Desmond Destang. We welcome her sister to the stage to receive this award on her behalf. Yes, it's true. You were recently... She's right away from it. We're almost to the end of our proceedings at this time. We'll have a presentation of a token of appreciation to our keynote speaker for this evening, Dr. or Professor Cato Lorenzen, and this will be done by Dr. Monique Raggi. Dr. Cato Lorenzen. Professor. I believe at this time that we have on our program a musical interlude. Okay, the President said that it is off program, following the President's orders. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Doctor, it's been an amazing evening, hasn't it been? Yes, we have been truly inspired by our fellow colleagues who have contributed so much to the healthcare in St. Lucia. I was truly inspired, and I know that you guys were as well. However, Dr. Gareth Edwards is the one who will be formally doing our vote of thanks.
According to St. Ambrose, who lived many years ago, no duty is more urgent than that of returning thanks. So I'm delighted for this pleasant duty of delivering the vote of thanks. On behalf of the SLMDA and behalf of myself, I'd like to give a special thanks to our distinguished keynote speaker, Professor Cato Lawrenson, for his brilliant and enlightening presentation. To the President of the SLMDA, Dr. Merle Clark, President Professor Dabor Rezier, of the Central Hospital, University, Martinique, Dr. Sharon Belmar, the Chief Medical Officer, Ministry of Health and Wellness and Elderly Affairs, our Minister of Health, Moses Jean-Baptiste, and Prime Minister Honorable Philippe J. Pierre. Our awardees, the staff of the French Embassy, special invited guests, doctors and dentists, staff of the SLMDA Secretariat, the Ministry of Health and Wellness and Elderly Affairs, the management of the staff of Bay Gardens. Thank you to Hotel Chocolat, Calabash Cove Resort, St. Lucia Distillers, and let's give a wide round of applause to all the participants who made the event a memorable one. And finally, I would like to thank all of you present here tonight for making the time and helping us to make this a memorable experience.